Okay, so picture this, a massive competition with one person from every single age, from 1 all the way to 100. A living, breathing timeline of humanity, all competing to prove that their age is the prime. And get this isn't just some crazy idea. It actually happened. The entire point of this massive social experiment was to answer one single, huge question. What really is the prime age for a human being? And as you're about to see, the answer is way more complicated than you might think. So to find this answer, they literally gathered 100 different people. Yeah, one for every age. From a 1-year-old baby who can barely walk, all the way up to a 100-year-old centenarian. The whole spectrum of human life was there. And what could possibly motivate all these people to compete? Well, how about $250,000? Yeah. With that much cash on the line, you better believe every single person was ready to go all out to prove their age was the best. But this was never going to be easy. To answer a question this big, the contestants had to survive 6 completely brutal and totally different challenges. So the first challenge was just pure chaos, a giant foot race. But there was a twist. It wasn't just about who was fastest overall. You had to be one of the first 5 people from your decade to cross the finish line. And no surprise here, the 21 to 30-year-old group filled up almost instantly. And just like that, in one single race, the entire field was cut clean in half. We went from 100 people with a dream down to just 50. The pressure was intense, right from the very start. All right, so with the herd thinned down to 50, the whole game changed. It wasn't just about individual speed anymore. Now it was time for some intense team-based battles. And what was the second game? A playground classic, dodgeball. The rules are simple, right? Get hit with the ball or step on the red line, you're out. The last team with players left on the court moves on. This was all about agility, strategy, and just pure reflexes. And this little moment just perfectly sums up how wild the age range was. The 6-year-old contestant actually asked, since we're the red team, can we touch the red line? It was just an adorable question, but the answer was a very clear no. But don't let that cute moment fool you, because the game itself was absolutely brutal. The younger contestants were merciless. They worked together to just systematically pick off the older players. And the result was pretty shocking. In one game of dodgeball, every single person over the age of 40 was eliminated. Gone. So now, with only contestants under the age of 40 left in the game, things shifted again. This was a new test of teamwork. The 5 youngest people left became team captains, and they drafted brand new teams for the next crazy challenge. And that next challenge was this incredibly complicated dunk tank relay. It involved archery, then swimming to grab ladder rungs from the bottom of a pool, and then building the ladder to hit a buzzer. I mean, this was a serious test of how well these brand new teams could work together under crazy pressure. Man, it was an intense race. You had teams falling way behind and then making these dramatic comebacks. But in the end, only the first 3 teams to slam their buzzers got to move on. 2 entire teams were eliminated, which meant only 12 individuals were still in the running for the cash. Okay, down to 12. The competition completely flipped on its head again. Teamwork was over. Now it was all about individual will to win. And the setting for this? A soccer field, floating in the sky for a series of one-on-one penalty kick shootouts. But even when it was every person for themselves, the human element was just so powerful. After getting knocked out, the 17-year-old said, "I got a lot of life left to live." It was this really touching moment, especially when he had to say this emotional goodbye to his new friend, the 7-year-old, who was just devastated to see him go. But, despite those moments, the game was still ruthless. One by one, people were eliminated in that shootout until the field was cut in half one more time. Only 6 people remained. So this next challenge might have been the most grueling one of all. The final 6 had to just hold a rope. Simple, right? Except that rope was attached to a mannequin that weighed 10% of their body weight. And the catch? Every 5 minutes, another 10% was added. This was just a raw, brutal test of pure endurance. And this is where the 7-year-old underdog became an absolute legend. While grown adults were dropping out, he was just holding on, yelling, "I'm a 7-year-old and I'm against 3 grown men." He outlasted almost everyone. It was incredible proof that strength isn't just about your size or your age. So after that insane test of will, only 2 were left standing. The final showdown went down in this massive stadium packed with people. Everything came down to this one final moment to decide who was taking home the money. And the two finalists could not have been more different. You had the 28-year-old, an athlete in what most people would call the absolute physical prime of life, fighting to win for his wife. And on the other side, the 7-year-old, the impossible underdog, who had just shattered every single expectation to make it to the very end. The final challenge was a mix of skill and just pure dumb luck. They took penalty shots, and whoever won the round got to open one of 10 briefcases. 9 of them had an X inside, but 1 had the check. The 28-year-old just kept winning rounds. He opened briefcase number 7, nope, an X. Then another one, still an X. He opens briefcase 3, another X. The tension was just ridiculous. And then, finally, on his 4th try, the 28-year-old picked the right one. He found the check. He won the $250,000. And he immediately said he was going to use it to pay off his wife's student loans. A truly life-changing win. So there we have it. A winner is crowned. After all that chaos, all that endurance, the 28-year-old was the last one standing. So it seems like we finally got an answer to our big question. Or did we? I mean, sure, on paper, the 28-year-old won, which seems to say that your late 20s are the peak for physical ability. But this whole experiment showed us something else, didn't it? It showed us a 7-year-old who defied every single odd and outlasted 98 other people through sheer grit. So it kind of leaves us wondering, did we really find the prime age? Or did we just find out that maybe it's not about the age at all?